So I got today the four-way cross wedge for the Boss 8-ton wood splitter. I like the wood splitter, it's going great, but I wanted to get the four-way wedge, so I thought that I could cut some logs into four ways at one time. A lot of birds here today. Okay, any event, this is how it comes. Just comes in a regular box, small box. It weighs about, doesn't say the weight, but it's about, I would say about 8 pounds. About 8 pounds, maybe 9. And I see you can put it this way, or I guess this way. It's lower. I wanted to give you a view of it. I'll probably put it this way. First of all, I'm not an expert on these things, but it's not bad, but I think this should probably be a little further back, so you could get more of a split this way before it hits this wedge. That would be my guess, but I'm not an expert in this, so if they do it this way, maybe they know. It's a triangle, and I wanted to show you. Looks very well built. Everything Boss does is really good quality, but I wanted to show you something. So here's what happened. This fits on top and is supposed to slide down on that, and there's one on each side, which is great. That's the one nice thing about this. You save a lot of time being able to split each way. But look what happened. So I take this, I put it on top. Doesn't fit. It won't go down. There's a little bit of a welding defect that I think most people won't recognize. This is too vertical. It's going straight out. It should be more like that. If it was more like that, it would be shorter. The distance would be shorter. It's longer when it's straighter. So it's hitting the back of this. See? If it was wider, more like that, it would fit in and this would slide down. I can't get it down. There's just no way. I tried. Nothing I can do about that. Can you see that? Okay, so in any event, I'll show you on this side. It is a little wider. Goes out a little more, and it does fit. All right, so basically what I'd recommend is, first of all, if you're going to get the four-way splitter, don't get two of them. Just buy one and see if it make sure it fits. Also, you want to make sure it's worthwhile. I don't know if it's worthwhile. We'll check it out, but I did get one, and I'll just keep it on that side. The other issue I heard is some people, it's a little loose, and some people say it shoots up, it flies off, and I'm a little concerned about that. So I wanted to make sure it doesn't fly up, and I think that the way it works is if it's pushing wood, it may have a way of like pushing it up a little bit, and I guess as it pushes up more, it takes more, the force would go up, and it would shoot off. So I think that I would put 2 bolts. I was thinking of putting bolts through there in the back, just so that it would, you put a bolt in, it would actually like hold it backwards, so that it would be more of a tighter fit. And I'd probably keep it on permanently, and then just cut bigger logs on that side, smaller logs on this side, or I'm not sure. We'll try that out. So I got these big bolts, and I think I would make 2 holes and put it through, and then put a nut inside there over here. In other words, this would push against this red, and then a nut over here inside would keep that tight. That's what I'm looking to do. And I probably would have to cut the bolt. So I think I would do it, okay, something like that. I made some markings. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll bring this downstairs. We'll drill some holes in this, which isn't easy. It's pretty thick. And we'll come back and put it back on. So it's just, I guess I'm just advising Boss. Hopefully they can double check the welds on there. Someone has to, they should have like a form that they can put over to make sure it fits. But it's still a high quality product. I highly recommend it. I'm not maligning boss. I just want them to know about this issue. Okay. So I got my vise. I got this. I marked off where I want 2 holes in here. Let's get that in, snug it up. Okay, hold on, loosen that up. Okay, so we got it in. Now we just have to drill some holes. I got my trusty old Sears electric drill. No cordless for this job. And we'll just put some plastic underneath to catch the shards, and we'll be ready to go. Alright, well, put a little oil. Got some oil in here. I haven't used it in a while, but let's see. I think it needs more oil. Alright. You know, it's not a bad idea. I could put in the used oil for my generator in there. It's usually pretty clean. Alright, in any event, let's go see where we are. Let's see, we need a little more oil. Oh, okay. That's working. I think it needs more oil when you see the burning. Okay. It's not too bad. Oops, okay. So that wasn't too bad. Got one hole there, and the goal is for the bolt to fit through. The hole may be too small. Oops, something fell, but the hole may be too small. But I'll make it bigger. I'll make another one, and we'll get it through. Oops. Not that easy. Oops, that's it. Hold on. Oh, that works better. That should fit. It still doesn't, but... Oh. I think that'll fit. Yeah. You know what? That's perfect. I'm using a wrench. And it's perfect size. Take this out. Let's do the other hole. Get some oil. I know it doesn't seem to make sense to put oil on these things, but I learned that that's the way to go. Otherwise you'll burn up your bit. Okay, got 2 holes. Let's check it out. All those shards, you want to use a Bounty. Just brush it onto a garbage bag, because that'll go through your fingers. It's pretty painful. Let's get another Bounty. Oh, gets all over. These stupid shards. Okay, so I think you can pick it up with a magnet wrapped in a plastic bag. So we got 2 holes, and the goal is to get bolts to go through there to hold it in place. I think that's working. Okay, so now the bolts are themselves are too big. I'm going to cut them off about there. And for that, I think I'm going to use a Dremel. So we'll get that set up. Alright, so now we got the bolts. And we're going to cut off the bolts that are there. So put the longer bolt in the vise. Got my Dremel. And of course we need safety protection, so I'll go get that. And we'll be set. I don't wear safety protection when I was drilling, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea to do that, but got my DeWalt goggles for the Dremel. Dremel's more dangerous, I think. Okay, let's go see. So hard, this is blocking. Alright. Well, it's good I used eye protection. Stuff was flying all over. Okay, so I got one bolt. And we need a second one that size. So let me mark that. Isn't it? Ah, it's hot. Got one bolt. And take this out. We need the second bolt. I don't know if you can see that size. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set this up to go. So I'm going to be smarter about this one. This one, I'm going to stick it out this way, I think, so it's easier to cut. I'll do it this way. Okay. Our Dremel needs a new bit. Hold on. Let's cut off the other one. Another Dremel bit gone. Well, thing is, I do want a clean cut, so I think I'm going to use. Probably shouldn't have broken it off, but I want it flat. I don't have an angle grinder, or do I? I like it to be flat, so it'll be flush against the log splitter, so that it'll have a good grip. So let me see if I can just clean that up a little bit. Okay, it's in tight. Yep, that's much better. Much better. Just a little up there. That one's flush. I think I'm gonna. This one's pretty good, but let's see. Yeah, that's pretty flat. This one I'll probably just try to get it, just get a little flatter. So I'll put that in. And smooth that out. That's good. All right, we'll put everything away and take a break for a second. So here's where we are. I have some paint actually. Just gonna touch up this so it doesn't rust. All right, we'll see how that goes. Just scratched the bottom. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, but put the paint away. And here's where we are. You take a look at it. All right. So, this is what we got. We have this, and I think I'm inclined to leave it this way, where it's higher up off the bottom, because a lot of the logs stick up a lot. So you have two holes, and I'm going to put these bolts through here. Hopefully it'll fit. I should have checked it, but don't want to have to drill that again, but when I worked for the city, we used to say measure once, cut twice. That changed when I left. But. Okay. So, that one goes through. All right, so the point is, if you can see it, I'm going to put that through. I'm going to put these bolts on the inside to hold that in, and this is going to put pressure against the triangle part of the wood splitter to keep this tight. That's what we're going to do. All right, so we'll bring it outside and take it from there. All right, so let's see how we're going to do this. This will go over here. And problem is, I think I have to do the bottom one first. Because it's the only way to reach it from outside. Well, let me take this out. This one I'll take out. I'm going to take this off. That's good. It fits snugly. Let's get this on. Oops. I'm going to start putting the bolt on. You can see. I don't know if you can see. Let's get that bolt on, at least initially. Let's see. It's not that easy. Let's put this down. Yeah, I'm not a mechanical expert, but unless I'm not a lefty. Okay. Oops. Alright, so basically the goal will be that that bolt on the inside is going to keep this from backing out. I don't know. That's a theory anyway. So let's see what we can do. Put this on. Oops. First I'm just going to tighten this. I actually made a mistake because the hole is too large, so it doesn't really grab on. So we'll use the bolt. Hold on. Oh, that's good. Oh, so I gotta hold this. Tighten it up. Or, you know what? I could just hold the inside one and tighten up this. Yeah, it's not a great job when you make the hole too big, but whatever. All right. You gotta improvise. You know, I don't know how much pressure there is, but 8 tons of pressure being pushed this way is a lot of pressure. So, if you can see, it's not a great job because the hole should have been smaller and should grab onto the hole, but that seems to work. Now we'll do the top one. Oops. Hold on. Same thing. The other thing I noticed with the machine is the hydraulic fluid was a little low. So I would recommend, I just don't know if that's down or that looks good. Okay, let me just double check. Okay, so it looks good, so let's do the top one. Now, I think it's okay that it's sticking out. Doesn't bother me. Put this one in. Oh. What I meant to do was... Alright. Hold on. One more time. Okay, so I checked everything out. It's good. Now I'm going to do the top one. Put this one in. This is actually tighter. This one fits well. Okay, that's better. Put the bolt in here. And hold on, let's get this. Oops. Oh shoot, this part's not easy. Let's see. It's good to have two people working on it. Oh, this one got loose also. So the bolt, at least the bolt will hold it in place. Bolt, come on, buddy. I don't know why it's not tightening around the bolt. Doesn't seem to be tightening up. I'll have to check that out. But basically, that's the idea. Even if it was as it is, it's not going anywhere. So, I'm pretty satisfied. I'll play with that bolt. The next question is, we need some wood. Let's see. That's how it works. So the wood's not going to be able to push this up and push it off, which is something of a safety hazard. And the front, splits 4 ways. Okay, so I did actually have to redo one, cut a new bolt, because what happened was, as it was digging through this piece of steel, it ruined the threads. That's why it wasn't catching on. I don't know, I put this plumber's tape on just so that I'm not sure why, but thought it would be a good idea. So now I can you can see, there's the bolt. I'm just going to put this over here. And that's actually the nut, but I'll tighten the bolt. It's tricky. You see that? It's coming out, and it's gonna press up against the log splitter. Okay, now it's hitting the log splitter, and it's tightening up. Alright, so you can see this is actually not, the bolt is not even touching that, but that's fine. It's exerting pressure against this, so it's pushing back against the nut. The nut is tight against the back of this split of the wood splitter, so it's actually like pulling this back. So the front, this is being pulled back, and when the wood hits it, it's not going to be able to come up under, I think, any circumstances. So it's a lot safer to use. And the idea is, like, bigger chunks of wood I'll probably just cut up against there. Smaller chunks I'll put up against there. This way, and I'll try it. If this can cut bigger logs, then I'll do that. I'll use it for the bigger logs. I'm just not sure exactly what I'll do. And then there's just one last thing to do, and we'll be ready for the logs. Yeah, and the last thing to do is just to use silicone spray just to coat the cutting surface. And what that does is we'll coat the bottom, basically the whole splitting edge. And this way, there's as little friction as possible. The way it works is, I actually learned in my daughter's physics class, when you're moving an object this way, what pushes back in the other direction is the friction. It's the friction over here, the wood sliding across, and on the cutting blade. I didn't learn all that there, but it's, so I'm trying to remove as much of the friction as possible. So, and as I said, I use it on my snow blower. It's great. It keeps the snow from sticking to the impeller. And really, that's it. It's a well-built machine. Very happy with it. You know, for a homeowner, I think it's really all that you need. You know, if you're just cutting, like, let's say once a year or so, twice a year, you're cutting maybe a cord of wood, 2 cords of wood, 3 cords. If you're in that range, this is fine. And there's really no maintenance here. You don't have to worry about the gasoline, changing it, draining the carburetor. So overall, I'm very happy with it, and I'll show you. Just we'll wait a little bit till we get some wood to split. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. So we got the bolts on, and the one thing just I noticed is when I drilled through the 4-way the wedge splitter, I'm used to, when I put bolts in, I make the hole that I'm drilling small, just slightly smaller than the bolt. So the bolt, I have to force the bolt in, and it's a good tight hold. What I found is, because it was a metal, a piece of metal, when I put the bolt through the 4-way splitter, the bolt actually got stripped. The metal, because it was sharp, it just stripped the threads off the bolt. So that wasn't a good idea. So basically, what I had to redo one of the bolts. I drilled the hole out a little bigger, put the bolt in, so it just it fits in just loosely, just enough to fit in, and then I used a nut to hold it in, as I showed you in the video. So we're past that. It's held on, and I guess the question is, why don't I just weld it? I have a welder. I could have just welded it, and the answer is, I'm not so sure. That might be the better way to do it if you want to weld it in. This was really a brand new splitter. I just couldn't bring myself to weld it onto something that's brand new. I was a little concerned about the warranty. It's a 2-year warranty. They probably would honor the warranty anyway, but I'm not so sure I want the 4-way. I'm not sure it's as useful as I hope it to be. I've seen some mixed reviews, so I'm going to bolt it on now. And if it works out well, and it gets loose, I'll probably just weld it. I could just weld it. I have my arc welder. You see I think you've seen the video of the Arc 1 welder. Works pretty well. It's pretty easy. I could just run a bead across the top and bottom, and but then it's permanently stuck to that wedge. The wedge would be on one side permanently, and I wouldn't be able to remove it. So I'm not 100% sure as to what I'm doing. So I think the bolting it on is a good compromise. So I got another package for the splitter, and this one came from Pep Boys, just to Okay. And I'll show you what it is. I'll open it up. One thing about this log splitter, it's pretty heavy. It weighs 200 pounds, and you don't realize how heavy 200 pounds of steel is until you're leaning it over on its side to clean it, and it falls down on your toes. It really hurts. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, so I got this package, and look at this. Packed pretty well. You got this, the ear packaging. And this is Shield AW32 hydraulic fluid. I'll show you that. Now, the Boss electric hydraulic log splitters use this fluid. And AW32, from what I'm learning, 32 is the viscosity of the fluid, the thickness of the fluid. And AW, from what I'm guessing, means all-weather 32. I believe this fluid has antifreeze in there, or a type of antifreeze. It says it's a premium hydraulic fluid containing anti-wear and anti-foam additives. Alright, I guess you don't want wear or foam. And is rust, oxidation, and corrosion inhibitors. That's good. Suitable for use in hydraulic jacks and pumps. Now, the importance of it says it provides good water separation, demulsibility, and anti-foam. Okay, I mean, the thing is, 32 is the viscosity. AW is the I don't know, I think it's the all-weather. That's what I thought was all-weather, but it does say it's anti-wear. But the point is, this contains a something to keep it from gelling up in the winter, from what I'm told. And it's important because if you don't have the correct fluid and you go out and you split wood, and let's say it's 20 degrees outside, the fluid can start to gel, much like engine oil in your car. And it won't be able to push that fluid. The motor won't be able to push that fluid. You could damage your unit. So having the right fluid is important. They did say you could have Dextron. You could put Dextron 2 fluid in, which I think is GM's transmission fluid. I know. Hope I'm right with that. I haven't had a GM car in a really long time. But if you do use the Dextron 2 fluid, you can't mix it with this fluid. You have to get rid of this fluid. You have to remove it completely and then use Dextron 2. I mean, the thing with this, I don't know what you're better off using, Dextron 2 or this. I stuck with this. I really just needed a couple of ounces. They really underfilled it at the factory. I think they tend to because they don't want it to leak during shipping. So I needed a couple of ounces, and then when I leaned it over to clean it, some of it dripped out. I leaned the unit over. I didn't catch it on tape, but it basically fell on my toes, and some of the fluid leaked out, a couple of ounces. So I need a couple of ounces. The smallest one I could find was 1 gallon. They basically sell these in like 5-gallon or 50-gallon containers. I don't know what they use it for, but in any event, it's pretty well packaged. So I'm happy with that. I have enough to refill this and maybe to replace the fluid after 100 hours of use. I'm not sure how long it lasts. I guess if properly stored, it should last for years. So we'll put that away. Okay, so let's go through the next thing I got. Now, there's another box, and I'm going to show you this box because I think it's important. Basically, the 5-ton and the 7-ton and the 8-ton units do not come with a stand. As you can see from the videos, they're pretty low on the floor. Very low off the ground, I think about 1.5 feet, and it really kills your back trying to lift the wood up and put it on there and bending over the whole time and pulling the switch to turn it on, that lever, pulling that, it kills your back. So I decided to get a stand. So I looked online, and it was interesting because Amazon was selling the stand for the log splitter. I think it was $49, but they charged shipping another $10 on top of that. Then I looked, and Wood Splitter Direct, where I got the wood splitter, had a lower price of $45 plus $10 shipping. Okay, so that was better. And I Googled it, and I looked online, and I saw Sears, which will probably go out of business maybe by the time you watch this video. Basically, I think the owner just keeps pumping money into Sears, because they just keep losing money. When he gets tired of that, it'll go out of business. But the point is, so they were selling it for $39 and free shipping. So it was like $39.99 plus free shipping. With tax, I think it came out to about $44. I think I have it here. Yep, Sears, it was $43.44 delivered to my door. So I thought that was a good price. But I'm looking at this box, and I have to show it to you. You can see there's a big cut over there. And over here, there's a piece sticking out. See that? So, I don't really have confidence that I got everything here. It looks to me like they just took the original box that it came in, slapped the label, and shipped it out. And that's something of a problem, because I really don't have the confidence that I have all the pieces in here. I just don't know. So it looks to me like UPS basically, after they got this, they saw there were holes in it, and they covered it in plastic or some kind of, I don't know, tape, and I don't know. So we'll open it up. I mean, this is the problem. You know, when you ship something nicely, the way the fluid came, the hydraulic fluid came, it makes an impression. When you come here and you ship it like with holes in the box, you really regret that you're doing business with them, which is a shame, because I loved Sears. When I was a kid, I grew up with Sears. It was the best place to get tools. I got my best drill. You can watch my tool video. And I have my Sears drill from 35 years ago. It works great. It's the best tool. It cuts. I was using that to cut through the wedge. It's the best drill. But this is what we have. Let's see if we're missing anything or whatnot. All right. So let's take a look. So in the box is a plastic covered sheet of paper. Owner's manual. I think it's one page. It's in plastic, which is interesting. I mean, they really should have put this box in another box and shipped it. Fortunately, it comes one package plus a bag of bolts. But the bag of bolts easily could have just fallen out of the box. Now, one thing about these bolts is that they're very nice. Let me see. All right. Here's the box. Very nice quality. And apparently you're supposed to, oops, take it apart on each end and put it back together on the extensions. That's not that easy. Especially over there. I was thinking of actually adding on to this a wheel on this side, like a Harbor Freight, an adjustable crank down wheel, so you could just roll it without having to lift up this side and just pulling it on these two wheels, because that's pretty difficult. But I don't really see any way to do that unless I hook it up to one side here. I don't know. I got to take a look at it. In any event, it says there's 19 pieces. No reference. 1 through 19. There's a lot of pieces. So let's cut it open and see what we got. You know, presentation and packaging is important. I mean, it looks like Boss did a nice job packaging it, but you're not going to get nice packaging like the way the fluid was shipped out unless you have a manager there that really cares. You know, and it, especially when you're basically just a reseller, like Sears is. If you're not packaging things nicely, what are you really selling? Other than price, I mean, not much. Well, it's very heavy duty. I'm happy to say that. It is all scratched up, but I don't know if that matters. It's really at parts that you won't see anyway. Can you see that? All right. We got two of these. And two of these. That shouldn't be that hard to figure out. One of these. These. Alright, so basically, these are the parts that I see that came. You gotta figure it out. So, these are probably two legs for one side. This is probably the side without the wheels. Here are these two that extend it with the wheels, and here's the holes probably to remount the wheels lower down. Maybe this goes over here. I don't know. This has like 3 pieces. 3 pieces on top of the main thing. 2 of these, one long, one short. One of these. And a bag of bolts. They look like nice bolts, so that should be good. So I'm gonna have to look at this. It's pretty cold out, so I don't know if I can actually go out into the garage and do it right now, but I'll try. And as soon as I get it together, we'll be back. So I was able to get the leg extenders on, and it worked out pretty well. First of all, I wanted to show you how to put them on, because the instructions really aren't that great and it's a little confusing. So let me just tell you, first of all, at the end of the process, you're going to have a few extra pieces. One is you're going to have two of these. This was at the bottom. You don't need them on the feet anymore because those feet went straight down. So that's garbage. The other thing that's garbage is the old crossbar. The tires went one on each side. That's replaced by a newer, wider crossbar, which you need because the machine is now 32 inches off the ground. So it's much easier to work with. You don't have to bend down all the way down. It's at 32 inches, you can do it standing up. So I'll just show you briefly how it fits together. This is the new leg. This piece fits into the old piece coming down. I'll try to get you some good light. Okay, so do this side first without the wheels. Lift it up, put it on its side. It's not going to leak on this side, so it's a lot easier. Do this first, and basically you have it had how many of these bolts? 6 of these bolts. Right, came with 6 of those bolts, and you put a washer over here on each of these. You got the bolt, the washer. On this side you have another washer there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, washer, and then a bolt, and then that's it. Actually, this is the nut. I'm sorry. The bolt goes through, washer, another washer on the other side, the nut, and that's it. So you got 4 of these over here. Over here, you put through, start with this side first. As I said, it's just a lot easier. This is the bigger one. This one, this crossbar, I believe is the biggest crossbar. So you want to do this one first. There's a crossbar, and then inside is another bar similar to this one. Like this, that's inside there. A little shorter. It goes in there, and then on each side are these bolts, which are different. You got these rounded bolts with it's a larger bolt with a washer. So you have 4 of these, 2 on this side, and that's all there is on this side. So once you've done this side, you can stand it up, and I'll show you what to do on the other side. On the other side, build the bottom. Okay, here's what we are. On the other side, build this piece, this, and the bottom first before you put it on, because it's going to be a lot more difficult. So actually, before you start, you want to take off the tires. I think it's a 14 millimeter. This is what they're connected to. Take off the bolts. You're going to reuse that hardware, the bolts and the washers. Just put this part together. Don't connect it here or here yet. Just take these 2 pieces, run over here. There's 3 of these. The smaller pieces go on the outer side. There's a larger piece that goes in the middle, and there's a very long piece that's inside there that's threaded on both sides here and here. So do that, and then the only thing after you thread it through, there's a washer here. You take that hardware off the original. There's a washer here, and the original bolt over there. I did note while I'm here, the tire seems, even though it's a solid tire, it's getting flat at different areas. I think because of the weight of the wood and everything, it just may seem like a lot. I mean, it's pretty well built. This is steel, but the rubber gets flattened a little bit. Okay, so put that on, build all that, and then for the final part over here, you got to have somebody help you connect this. So again, this is just the bolt, washer, washer, nut. Same thing on the other side. And this side is this piece, which there'll be a piece that slides through that's threaded, again, like this, but smaller. Let me just see. Focus that. Okay. And then you'll put on this side, it's just the lighting is always difficult. Okay. Here on this side, you just put the washer and the big bolt. Okay? Got a view of that? Now, the trick is, though, when you slide this on, it's going to be difficult getting it on because there's a curve here. See that? So you're going to have a hard time because this is not going to want to go on. And when it goes on, it's going to want to slide down too far. So have somebody ready with a screwdriver to put it in there to hold it from going down. I didn't do that, and I had to like put a screwdriver in and jack it up. But in any event, I got it connected. It's very solid, even though now it's much higher and you would expect it to be more likely to topple over. That's not the case. It's really very solid. It's not going to fall over because they've added all that. This goes out pretty far, and on the other side the tires go out very far. So I think we're ready. It's really a lot easier to work with. You can see it's, now that it's 32 inches off the ground. Let me just show you the other side. It's really a lot easier to work with. Alright, so the next step is we'll take it outside. We'll probably have to add some fluid, and then we need some wood to start chopping up. Check out that 4-way splitter. And we're back, and it's spring. Thank God. What a tough winter that was. A lot of wind damage, snow, everything. So we're back. I could finish up my video about the 4-way log splitter. And as I said, it comes a little short from the factory of the log splitting oil. I think it's dry down there, just a drop at the bottom. So we have to fill it up. So we're going to do that, which is pretty easy. Just, okay, like that. And I'll measure it with my finger. Hopefully we won't spill any. Okay. Oh, I think that's good. We'll check that out. Okay. Nope, could use a little more. It's got to drain down. Okay. Let that sit there. Oh, still need to add a little more. And we're not going to make the mistake we made the first time. We're going to bleed it out, and which means running it back and forth with nothing in there, with no log on there, so that the air gets pushed out. This is the new cap, actually, that allows the air to bleed out while holding the liquid in. Still need more. More. Okay. Maybe it's short of quart. I don't know. I think it's starting to be okay. You just want to keep checking it because you don't want to overfill it. I think we're about there. I will tell you, this is really my favorite electrical tool, I think. You know, I was playing with the Works chainsaw, and you can watch that video, and it was good. The chain did come off when I hit the concrete for a split second. The chain popped off, and it's a little bit of a pain getting it back on, but it's not that difficult. And once you do, you're fine. But this tool is just designed beautifully. It just has a nice design. Everything is so heavy duty here that you could tell the people who put this together or designed it, I guess it's put together in China, but the people who designed it really designed it with very thick steel, really built it to last. I think the only other thing you should think about is maybe going with the 10-ton one, and the only nice thing about it is it has like shelves on the side, so when you split the log it doesn't just fall off, and that could be it just makes it a little more difficult. Yeah, I think we're good. I think so. A little more. Gone through a lot. I mean, okay, that seems pretty good. Hopefully that's it. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run the ram back and forth a couple of times just to bleed it, and then when we're ready we'll get back to splitting wood with a 4-way splitter. So I thought we'd start with something small to try out the 4-way log splitter. And this is just a piece of 5-inch. And I'll turn on the machine. Yep. Just got to get the machine ready. Okay, 1 second. Alright, so we got it loaded. We'll see how this works. Here we go. Look at that. So this split it in 4 ways. Look at that. We'll bring it back. Let's do something bigger. Okay, this one about 14 inches. Now, let's check this one out. Alright, so we got to restart it because I pulled it back too far. But I noticed that we're dripping some oil, a lot of oil, because I must have overfilled it. I don't know, maybe I should have just loaded it with oil, put some oil in, then ran it back and forth, then added more oil. Whatever. Instructions really don't tell you much. But let's just finish splitting this up and we'll try another log. But so far it's working very well. I think the only, right now it's not moving. This is very solid. So I don't know if I'm going to weld it in. I may, because I think I like it a lot. It's working very well. I think the only issue with this log splitter is it only splits logs that are about 20 inches long. And really I could use some of these logs are much longer than that. And it's a pain to cut them into the size. So that's something you should consider. I don't know if another model will cut larger logs, like the Boss 10-ton. I'm not sure. But otherwise, so far, so good with this. And let's check this one out. Let's split this again. And then we'll try to see if we have something bigger. See, I overfilled the oil. Who knew? Look at that, baby. Let's try again. I think a good idea is to put a marker there and mark how far you should push it back, because if you push it back, it'll just reset the motor. So, let's see. Look at it shredded. Unbelievable. Look at that. This is great. Perfect. Now I think we're going to try something bigger. Hold on. See, that resets it. I think it's good. You got to take a marker here and mark it so I don't push it back too far. All right, let me get something a little bigger. All right, this, if it fits. All right, this is, a little over 16 inches. Ooh. Hopefully it fits. How long is it? About 19 inches. I don't know if it's going to fit. It may just be slightly too big, too long. Let's take a look. Awesome. All right, let's try that 4-way log splitter. Let's see what happens. All right, here we go. don't want this to fall on me. Okay, well, it split it. Ooh. This is oak, and it's wet. Let's try that again. Oh. Sorry about that, guys. This log is heavy. Bring this back. Okay, let's get back. Let's get set up again. Let's see what happens with the rest of it. Oh, hold on. These uneven pieces. Alright, let's go that way. Oh, it's wet. This is a wet piece of wood. Just a bad shape. Perfect. Alright. Let's split the other half of that. Okay, guys, here's where we are with the log splitter. Basically, I'm very happy with some of the modifications we made. First was the stand. The stand lifts it up, I think about 4 feet, and roughly that. I can measure it actually and tell you. With the stand, it's about 32 inches. So that's great. Now, that's the first thing. It really saves your back. You're not bending over. It's mandatory. If you're going to get this, you got to get the stand. Okay, now, as far as the 4-way splitter, it's a must. It's great. Like I said, get one. See if you like it. If you like it, you could buy a second, but you'll make sure that it fits. Like I said, I had trouble. Didn't fit on this side. So I'm just going to use this as a 1-way splitter, 2-way splitter, and then use this as the 4-way splitter, and I'll just work both sides. But I would say that this definitely helps. It's definitely going to save you time by splitting it. Even if not completely 4 ways, it did break up some of the pieces into 4 ways. Some of it just broke into smaller pieces. So that's great. I think I would try it out. Now, I'm happy the bolting system I came up with is still very solid. It's not moving. So I don't know if I'm going to weld it in. It just seems fine the way it is. This way you can always take it apart. For you guys, I think if you have a welder, maybe just weld it in. You don't have to do all this work with the bolts. But in any event, overall it's very good. It's like I said, the only problem is if you push it too far back here. I'm really going to run it with a marker so I know where to stop. Otherwise, the motor thinks it's resistance and shuts off for safety reasons to preserve the motor. That being said, I'll tell you overall, it's just a very solid machine. The steel here is very thick, very solid, and I'm really happy with this tool. Like I said, I have a lot of electrical tools. This is one of my favorites, just because the sheer power of this thing is just amazing. It could be longer, it could leave you with, it's not that wide. You do have to cut the wood into smaller pieces than I envisioned, which is more work. That being said, this is for a homeowner, so sacrifices have to be made. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, please subscribe. If you want me to review something else, just post it, and I'll definitely look into it. But overall, this is a great tool, and it's also a lot of fun. You really get the sense that the people designing this really put the effort into making this a great tool. And you know what? They really have. Take care. Be well.